Welcome to the wonderful world of Bitcoin. This course will serve as your guide to this exciting cryptocurrency and how you can utilize it for yourself. The first part of the course serves as an introduction to Bitcoin. We will discuss what it is, what it can be used for, and some of the features which set it apart from traditional currencies like the pound or the dollar. So Bitcoin is a unique type of cryptocurrency. It has no physical properties and is stored electronically. It's the world's first real working example of a cryptocurrency, one that can be traded and used in digital transactions. But what really makes Bitcoin different to standard currencies is that it is completely decentralized. While Bitcoin can be used to purchase items electronically, in much the same way you would spend pounds sterling, dollars, or even euros, the key selling point for Bitcoin is, as I mentioned just this moment, it is completely decentralized. In other words, no single financial institution manages the Bitcoin network, so no large banks who might be vulnerable to a weak economy can change the value of Bitcoin to suit their specific needs. And most excitingly, you can mine your own Bitcoins. But we'll discuss that in much more depth later on in this course. While you're here, a name I want to touch on is Satoshi Nakamoto. This may or may not ring a bell with you, but Bitcoin was originally created by this computer scientist. He wanted to create an electronic currency that was based on mathematical theory rather than fluctuating markets and economies. In Bitcoin, he's achieved that, and he has invented a form of currency that is wholly independent of a centralized banking authority and one which can be transferred pretty much instantly with minimal added fees. So now we know who created Bitcoin, and that it's not controlled by any financial institutions. So now all we need to know is who is responsible for Bitcoin. Here comes the best bit. Nobody is. Bitcoin doesn't physically exist in theory, so it can't be manipulated by anyone, any organisation, or even any country. We've seen the UK government simply print more and more money to help tackle the growing debt problem in the UK, which then affects the value of the Great British Pound. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is a community currency, not owned and therefore not misused by anyone, any institution, any bank or any country. Rather than being traditionally printed, Bitcoins are mined in a distributed network, which then processes any transactions made. So many of you now are probably thinking, if it's not controlled by any institution, you can simply create unlimited amounts of Bitcoin and take it easy for the rest of your lives. But you'd be wrong, because there are a set of rules and regulations known as the Bitcoin Protocol. And in that Bitcoin Protocol, it states that only a maximum of 21 million Bitcoins can ever be created. No more Bitcoins can ever be created, just a maximum of 21 million. These coins, however, can then be divided into smaller amounts, almost like cents to dollars and pence to pounds. The smallest amount is known as a Satoshi, because if you invent a currency, you might as well name it after yourself. Remember that Bitcoin is based on mathematics rather than, say, the value of gold like traditional currencies are. The software used to calculate the value of Bitcoins is open source, meaning it's free for anyone to analyse and produces a mathematical formula which anyone can check. Bitcoin is the ultimate in community-based banking.